Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Sanguinismo. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be going through a speed recap of my trip to Japan with some friends from the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. So on our first day in Japan, we visited Kyoto, and we went to a lot of different temples and shrines, including Kiyomizu-dera, Fushimi Inari, and many other temples. We tried on kimonos, and we learned a lot about Japan's place in history and how it was modeled after Chang'an in a grid-like pattern. Um, One of our friends who had organized the trip remarked also that Japanese people, he himself also being Japanese, were probably some of the least monotheistic people in the world. Hence, even though Kyoto was widely regarded within Japan as being a gathering place for spiritualists and other types of religious believers, the temples had a mix of Shinto and Buddhist deities and figureheads, for lack of a better word. Um, Here on the right is Tie. I forget her Japanese name, but she's the Iron Goddess of Mercy, and she's a major figure in Buddhism. For the days that we were there, it was also incredibly hot. Our friends explained to us that Kyoto is in a mountain basin, which captures both cold and heat. When it's hot in the rest of Japan, Kyoto will be a little hotter, and when it's snowing in the rest of Japan, Kyoto will be a little cooler than its other similar latitude counterparts. On our third day of the trip, we went to Hiroshima. For this part of the trip, I'm also going to disclose that we are going to discuss some loss of life and severe injury from atomic bombing, so please continue at your own discretion. But yes, we started off our day with the Shinkansen. And after arriving in Hiroshima, we went to the A-bomb Memorial Museum, the Peace Memorial Museum, and en route we saw the um, A-bomb dome, and that used to be a banking building. And this was the river, and that was the peace memorial. And I don't know if you can see it in this picture, but there's a fire lit in the center of it, and the idea is that once one of our hosting friends explained to us that the bomb detonated some 80 meters above ground level, allowing for the foundation of the building to remain standing. Since the event, the city of Hiroshima has maintained the ruins to stand as a living testimony to what happened. Covering the sheer destruction created by the A bomb, the core of the explosion was some 14,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it literally evaporated people within 250 meters of the site. In the museum itself, we saw also artworks and pictures from survivors who later passed on, whether immediately in the week of the event or those who survived to suffer from A-bomb syndrome and radiation. A frequent description used by survivors, journalists, and record keepers of all kinds was that the skin of survivors who were horrifically scarred was described to be hanging off of their bodies like rags. Another soldier who returned to his hometown to collect his brother's belongings, and his brother had passed during the bombing, found a blob of glass that used to be individual medication bottles, and the blob itself was on display in the museum. And he was at such a loss for words that the only thing he really had to say was that it must have been as hot as hell. In one particular exhibit, which you can also read online at the Memorial Museum website linked in description, one family had their head of household be caught in the fallout of Hiroshima. A fisherman by trade, he dealt with so much pain during his life due to the A-bomb residual radiation, which was then called A-bomb syndrome, that no one had the means to care for and alleviate the pain for him, even though he had sought so much health care throughout his life. After enduring the pain for the sake of his family, he eventually chose to end his life. And an autopsy uncovered various scarring cuts on his thighs, showing that clearly this hadn't been his first attempt, at least to harm himself. Aside from the damages done directly by the bomb, something else that was discussed that I don't see often is in a section in a museum was the prejudice survivors faced in seeking care. In the years after the war and desecration, caused by the A bomb, the survivors were given booklets that labeled them as survivors of the bomb, and they could sign up to receive these. And the survivors sometimes chose to not receive their booklets, even though that the booklets would guarantee them free healthcare for life. This was because people were scared of the A bomb survivors and thought that their radiation sickness was contagious. And even when they did have a job, here it says that many tired easily and had to take frequent breaks, and people would accuse them of being idlers, and that they were using their experiences during the bombing as an excuse. I'm really just at a loss for how much pain a weapon of mass destruction could have caused so many people who could have never really understood the scale of the damages caused in a war that they were not responsible for starting or ending. Both before and after the museum and the testimony we listened to, I have never felt so strongly about ensuring that we never have the capacity to cause this sort of damage to begin with. In the last part of our trip, we went to Tokyo, and these days we spent mostly meeting people who currently serve in the Japanese government or have served previously. First, we went to A1 Studios, which is not related to the government, which produced Marshall Kaguya-sama Love is War and Licorice Recoil, among others. In the studio, we got to try background drawing, tracing with light boxes, and also animation framing. And because we couldn't take pictures inside, here's a picture of Pom Pom from the Star Rail pop-up at Animate Ikebukuro. Afterwards, we met with an alum of the Harvard Kennedy School who now serves as the Minister for Internal Affairs and Communications, Mr. Yoshima Hayashi, in the Japanese National Cabinet. In the late afternoon, we also met with Mr. Haruhiko Kuroda, who was the former governor of the Bank of Japan, as well as the former president of the Asian Development Bank. In these meetings, they discussed a lot about the future of the Japanese economy, their concerns, and it became clear to me in this discussion that comparatively, the economy is a much more prominent issue with Japanese voters than it might be with American voters. As an example, there is also a clear segregation of topics, such as a difference between military industry and defense, as opposed to combining military industry into part of the concept of the economy. A lot of this has to do with Japan's place in the global order and how it continues to align itself geopolitically as other things, namely countries, soft power, and economic development, move around the nation's place in the global order. The next day, we met with the CEO of Uniqlo, where we learned more about the philosophy behind what Uniqlo is and the concept of lifewear that has become more prominent in the company's branding. They also gave us this little bag, which was nice. I really don't know what I'll be doing with mine, so comments and suggestions are appreciated. Afterwards, I took a detour with my friends to a kaiseki restaurant. My friend who organized the trek explained to me that kaiseki is a style of traditional Japanese cooking, and different kaiseki restaurants will have different variations on the food itself. For example, the restaurant we went to took heavy inspiration from Buddhist themes, so all the courses were completely vegan. After eating there, I felt spiritually cleansed, like I had walked through a waterfall. And I say spiritually because I don't think I could survive walking through a real one. In the late afternoon, we met with members of the National Diet, namely those that are part of Team Mirai. I've linked some articles about them in the description, along with information about other things I've talked about in this video. Team Mirai has taken younger Japanese voters, as well as people formerly not involved with politics or otherwise civically engaged, by storm. Their platform centers around their party leader, Takehiro Anno, who used to be a professional AI engineer, and his use of AI to guide voters with more accessible language and interaction with their political leaders. As one example, he created an AI-powered VTuber of himself that can answer questions 24/7, with a clear disclaimer that the stream is AI-powered. However comical that idea might be, it still addresses a key issue with many young people who don't have much time to sit down and figure out their political identities. And it's that they have someone they can ask the important questions to without feeling like they are somehow behind or less smart than their peers. Through this and similar interventions, although sometimes imperfect for various reasons, the party has made politics more accessible to various groups that might not have voted before. Unrelatedly, we also tried pickled cream cheese, served with tobiko, which is apparently a Japanese izakaya food. And don't ask me questions because I also don't know. It was very salty. I don't know how I feel about it still. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to my desk again. This time I still do not have a tripod, but I have a camera, so that means the frame is going to be moving less, and that's kind of revolutionary. So yes. And also, here is the ibuprofen I take because I have a lot of piercings and they always swell up because I don't rinse them. So if you ever get piercings, don't be fucking nasty and actually fucking wash them every day. Anyways, let's move on. So, while I was in Japan, I saw a video about these on RedNote on Chinese Instagram, where someone was like talking about how these were like really good for cooling. And then I bought them, and I was like, this is a revolutionary product. So before I left, I bought 4 more packs, 2 of this peach scent and 2 of this osmanthus scent. And I think they're both amazing. I really like the osmanthus scent. I didn't try the peach one. I opened a pack. I didn't try it yet. So if you go to Japan and then you feel musty, I highly recommend. And then I got this Sprigatito plushie. Doesn't he look so stupid? I love him. He's not dumber than Kanade, which kind of sucks, but he's here, and that's amazing. A for effort. And then I got these Kit Kats. This is the shochu, the Japanese sakura sake. And then this is umeshu. I really like drinking umeshu normally, so when I had these, I was mildly disappointed by the fact that they didn't really taste like umeshu. Both of these are alcoholic, by the way, although they have very different levels of alcohol. And then this one, I think, is just very sweet, even though it actually has more alcohol than this one. If I had to recommend one of the two, I would recommend this umeshu one, because I don't actually really like sweets. So it works out for me that it's not that sweet. Next, I bought this kanade nendo. Oh, is she focusing? Please focus. Look at my daughter. Okay, if I bring her farther away, she will focus. But this is kanade nendoroid. And isn't she so cute? She's so cute, isn't she? Look at her. And then she has the little headphones, and then she has like other faces that I put away because they were starting to scare me a little bit if I left them out on my desk. She's on my desk now, which is also pretty amazing. So now I have 5 kanades on my desk. I can always have more, but this is a great start, I think. Next, I got a 3-pack of these spray-on sunscreens from Don Quixote because they were cheaper than the individual ones. And then I saw that they had good reviews, so I bought them. Which is probably not the brightest choice I've made in a long time. But also I don't make very many bright choices, so I think it's okay. And then I got the pore cleansing face wash that everyone talks about. The more popular one is the blue one. I don't know what the purpose of the blue one is, but I kind of needed a charcoal cleanser. And then I got a lot of these sunscreens, and I felt like I feel like these work really well because like they actually blend into your skin and they don't make you look pale and ashy, which I really appreciate. And then I got this pore cleanser because my pores are gross, which you didn't need to know, but now you know, so you're very welcome. And then I got this toothpaste because it looked nice. I don't know if this is supposed to serve a particular purpose or something, because I certainly can't read Japanese that well. Yeah, so I got this anyways. And I'm realizing now that you can test how yellow your teeth are on the top, which is a little embarrassing. But anyways, I digress. And then I got these eye drops that you're supposed to use specifically for screen time. Can you please focus? Okay. Yeah, so these are specifically for screen time. So like, and then for some reason they're spicy. Like I had my friend come over and try them because I was like, Well, like, I'd like to keep my eyesight if I misread the label and they're not actually eye drops. So then she tried them, and it turns out that they're spicy. And I got another one that has like vitamin D in it. That's supposed to be like the gold standard for eye drops. Those are spicier. But they're certainly refreshing. Like, they do what eye drops are supposed to do, which is keep your eyes moist, and they're refreshing. I don't know if my eyes felt moister, but that's TMI. This keychain of Kanade. I don't know if this is like supposed to be part of some promotion or something, but it's just her name, which is kind of nice. Yeah, there you go. It'll focus now. Aside from that, I got some more can badges of like designs I didn't have before. I also got this sticker. I don't really know where to put this, so it's just been sealed in a little bag for now. Yeah, she's been exiled. And then what else? Oh yes, I got these can badges, and I think these are really cute. So this is from the Frontier World Tour live. It's not a world tour. It wasn't a world tour. What am I saying? Oh yeah, and then this is another design I didn't have. Oh, can you see her? Will she focus? I'm asking for too much. And then I really liked this World Link design, so I got this one as well. Isn't she so pretty? She's so pretty. She's so cute. Aside from all the other insane things I bought, I got this cordless hair straightener, and it's pretty amazing because it also doubles as a power bank. And I thought they would make me take the battery out because it is a lithium battery in here, but they did it. So now I get to keep the battery and I don't have to replace it, which is pretty cool. I was a little bit worried about that. And then I also got this metal hair comb from the same brand, Salonia, and it's supposed to be anti-static, and I think I was scammed out of my money on this one because my hair's already pretty flat anyways. Like, I already look like I'm balding, so I don't know why I wanted to look flatter. But that's fine because it is also kind of nice, and it's shaped like a gua sha, so you can use it like a gua sha, but I never put it in the fridge, so I can't use it as a gua sha because it's not cold enough. Anyways, now you know too much about my lifestyle, and I'm a little embarrassed. So we'll end the shopping haul here. Yeah, so let me know in the comments if there's any product that I bought that you want to review for. Because I'm now a food and travel vlog YouTuber. Yes. Anyways, I'm just gonna hand it back to whatever I was saying before. I'm gonna cut myself off. Have a good one. And then here are some other things I saw and appreciated in Japan. Aside from what I bought, I also saw a lot of things in Tokyo, as well as many other places that I deeply appreciated. In no particular order, here's some features I noticed and really enjoyed. First, the use of greenery to bolster the fronts and literally any vertical or exposed surface on a building. This was used in tandem with modernist as well as brutalist designs, basically regardless of material surface, and gave the city more cohesion even if the architecture itself differed from place to place, because you could always see greenery somewhere. It also made the city seem alive while blending in historical sites that traditionally would just have more greenery along with the skyscrapers. And also I know that any normal walkable city has this, but I really love wide sidewalks. Like, I'm such a big fan of wide sidewalks, and I'm still really upset that I didn't get to see Yoiseki Kanade from Hit Game Project Sekai at Shibuya Scramble Crossing. In conclusion, I'm really so grateful to my friends and the other Japanese students at Harvard who put together such a meaningful itinerary for our time in Japan. Not only were we able to gain such deep insight into how the Japanese government was designed to function versus how it actually functions with both old and new strategies in policy design and implementation, we were also reminded deeply of how important it is for us to continue keeping the people in mind in our policy work. From what good design looks like to the ultimate harms and wrongs done between governments, I was just deeply moved to have seen as much as I did and to have learned as much as I did on this trip. And I hope that someday the eternal fire lit in the memorial at Hiroshima will be put out once and for all. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.